hospitals never sat right with me. The sterile smell, the dim lighting, the endless hum of machines, it always felt like the air carried more than just sickness. But when my uncle fell ill, I couldn't avoid it. I started visiting him every night after work. He was on the 4th floor in room 412. The hallway up there always felt colder than the rest of the building, but I figured that was just bad ventilation or my nerves. Still, something about it made me uneasy. I first heard about room 409 from a nurse. She was young, friendly, the kind of person who tried to make small talk to break the tension. "You're brave, staying late on this floor," she said one evening as she refilled my uncle's IV. "What do you mean?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She hesitated, then smiled like she'd said too much. "Oh, nothing. Just old stories." When I pressed her, she finally said, "It's probably nonsense, but some of us swear room 409 is strange. Patients don't stay there long. Either they recover and leave faster than expected or, well, they don't make it." I laughed nervously. "That's comforting. Just don't wander too close to it," she said, half joking. But the look in her eyes told me she meant it. I couldn't stop thinking about it. The next night, I stayed late again. My uncle had fallen asleep, and the halls were eerily quiet. I decided to walk by room 409 just to satisfy my curiosity. The door was slightly ajar. The lights inside were dim, and the room looked empty. No patient, no equipment, just a bed pushed neatly against the wall. But then I noticed something odd. The air outside the door felt colder. Not just a little, it was bone-chilling, like stepping into a freezer. And then I heard it. A faint sound, like someone whispering. I leaned closer, my pulse quickening. The whisper grew louder, but I couldn't make out the words. It wasn't coming from inside the room, it was coming from just behind me. I spun around. The hallway was empty. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling. No answer. Just the distant beep of machines from the other rooms. I turned back to 409 and nearly screamed. The door, which had been ajar, was now wide open. Inside, the bed wasn't empty anymore. A figure sat there, draped in a hospital gown, its head hanging low. "Are you okay?" I managed to ask, my heart hammering in my chest. The figure didn't move. I took a shaky step closer, and that's when I noticed something was wrong. The air smelled rotten, like spoiled meat. "Excuse me?" I said, louder this time. The figure lifted its head. Its face was pale, hollow, and wrong. The eyes were sunken, black pits that seemed to stare straight through me. And its mouth twisted into a grin far too wide for any human face. I stumbled back, tripping over my own feet. The figure stood, its movements jerky, unnatural. It whispered something, but I couldn't understand it. The only word I caught was "stay." I bolted down the hall, not looking back until I reached the elevator. When I told the nurse what I'd seen, her face went pale. "You shouldn't have gone near that room," she said. "There hasn't been a patient in 409 for years." "Not since..." She trailed off, shaking her head. "Since what?" I demanded. "They found someone in there," she said softly. "A man. He died weeks earlier, but no one noticed. We think he was waiting for someone." I didn't ask who. I didn't want to know. That was the last night I visited the hospital. But sometimes, late at night, I dream of room 409. And in the dream, I'm standing in the doorway, staring at that figure on the bed. It lifts its head, smiles, and whispers, "Stay."